Hey guys, I hope you're all doing really well. As soon as I got off yesterday's live, I got another message immediately to put this message out, this video. And I was thinking about doing it live, but I'm kind of pressed for time. I thought I was going to have a little bit more time, but I don't. So I want to talk about the underground awakening, which was the message I received yesterday. And it's about the process of awakening that is happening right now that I think many of us forget about. And I was told, like my guidance came through, to use relationships as an example to remind us all about the underground awakening. As many of you know, for the most part, the awakening process, which is a realization of a truth that has been veiled in illusion, okay? And that can be a lot of different truths that have been veiled in many different kinds of illusions within your life throughout your entire journey. So the awakening is when someone starts to see past the illusions and starts to see what is actually true. Now, what is happening currently on this planet among a lot of people within the collective is an underground awakening. So it doesn't look like it's happening right now because it's underground. And a lot of times through a lot of my work as an intuitive life coach, one of the things that I've realized, not just in my own journey, but working with a multitude of different clients around the world, is that there are often things that are running in the unconscious, even in the subconscious, that someone isn't even aware of yet. So using this example of a relationship is that I'm sure all of us have had this experience. I know I have, unfortunately, a couple of different times I've had this. Let me just make sure my phone is on silent there. Okay. So when you're in relationship and you may have been in the relationship for a while, and this actually doesn't necessarily mean like a partnership. It could be a family relationship. It could be a friend relationship. It could be a coworker, any kind of relationship. Okay. And you're in this relationship and everything is obviously going well for a certain amount of time. And then you start to get these niggles. You start to get these feelings that something just isn't right. And you have such an attachment to the relationship, whether it's through your own need to feel wanted, to be loved, to not be alone, to not be abandoned, all different kinds of reasons. We all have our own insecurities. But for your own insecurities or reasons for not wanting to see something, you aren't paying attention to that little voice inside, that little kind of gut feeling, that niggle that starts to surface when things aren't going exactly as you had hoped. And this is called the underground awakening. This happens to all of us for the most part. I know some of you go through very spontaneous awakenings. It comes out of nowhere, but for the most part, a lot of us go through a gradual awakening. And so, you might be in this relationship, and I'm just going to use like a partnership relationship as an example, just to keep it simple. And you and your partner are fighting more and you're in disagreements about certain things, but you love them a lot and you're trying to make it work. And all of a sudden, things just aren't turning out the way you want. And the relationship may get a little bit abusive in some ways. I think we've all been there to some degree. You can look at just the empath and the narcissist kind of relationship where something's not right, but you keep wanting to do better. You're like, no, I know it's going to be fine. And you're just wanting to kind of almost put your head in the sand and not pay attention to what you're truly feeling deep down. Something isn't right here. So that's what's happening through many at this time is they are awakening, but they're going through the process of the underground awakening. Now, eventually what happens is things really start to get bad in someone's own reality, okay? And in, let's just say again, this relationship where things become so hard to ignore, you can't. But there's such an attachment to this relationship through insecurities, belief systems. You may have thought this person was the one, and you had already come up with this idea of how your life was going to look. And you've already got marriage, kids, home, already in your mind, you've banked on it. And to pull your energy, to pull yourself out of that vision that you have, that future that you've committed yourself to in your heart, you've committed your mind to, you've committed your beliefs to, now becomes extremely difficult to separate from. There's a lot of loss that happens. Eventually, it has to get to the point for many of us where it's so bad, the only option is to finally walk away. And you walk away with a lot of pain. You walk away with a lot of loss. You walk away with a lot of disappointment. And you walk away feeling like, why didn't I listen to that voice a little bit sooner? And so you start to tune into that voice as you go down your journey, perhaps a little bit more. You start to give it a little bit more credence. You start to give it a little bit more, promise and trust. So what my guidance was telling me to share with all of you is, do not mistake what seems to be an absolute plateau or unawakening that is happening. Because listen, there are things that are happening right now that are just so hard to ignore, and people are still ignoring them, and they're going to ignore them until it gets super bad. And that's why I feel like things are going to have to get a little bit worse before they get better. And of course, everyone's going to be coming to this realization where the underground awakening starts to surface above, and it's now no longer underground. Everyone's going to have their own timing with that. It's all going to happen in different stages and phases for everyone. But it's our job to remember that everything is not as it seems. This is one of the big rules of this reality. And to not always believe what we're seeing with our eyes, but to really tune into what we know in our hearts. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. If you're new to my channel, you can also follow me on Instagram and Telegram. And if you guys are interested in joining my alchemy program, if any of you want to join like-minded souls, you want to explore your own journey, your own awakening, you can join the alchemy family. Link for that is in the description below as well. Guys, I love you so much. I actually have another video. I got 2 downloads yesterday as soon as I got off that live yesterday that, and I was like, you got to pump the brakes here for a second. I can't put out, I guess I could put out a video every day, but, I am going to release my talk on Sunday for those of you who missed it at the summit. It was a great talk, so I will be releasing that on Sunday. You can look out for that. But next week, I will come back with more videos and, of course, the next episode in my podcast. Guys, I love you so much. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll be back with you guys real soon.